Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Could we now play Plaintiff's Exhibit number 401? Is your monitor working?
Yes.
Now, how did seeing that video, and in particular the last line, stand up for righteousness, vote yes on Proposition 8?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel represented this was a video that was produced by ProtectMarriage.com, proponent in this case. There has been no foundation to that effect. Doesn't appear that it is. And to the extent that the witness is going to testify as how this particular ad made him feel is of no relevance to this case.
Boys?
Your Honor, what I said was that it was a campaign video featuring Ron Prentice, chairman of the ProtectMarriage.com. If counsel is saying it was introduced by somebody other than ProtectMarriage.com, that is something I don't have any knowledge about that. What it was a campaign video. Everybody has agreed it was a campaign video, and it's featuring the chairman of ProtectMarriage.com, Ron Prentice, who played a very prominent role. The purpose of this is to show the effect these kinds of ads had on Mr. Katami, and through him, other members of the gay community. I think it's an entirely legitimate purpose, given Mr. Prentice's role in that, regardless of who actually produced the video.
Anything further, counsel?
Your Honor, just to the extent that it's being characterized as an ad campaign, as a campaign video, suggests that it's part of an official campaign of Prop 8. And there is no foundation of that whatsoever.
I believe the question to this witness is what his reaction was in seeing this exhibit. And I think the question is proper without regard to the specific origin of the campaign advertisement. Objection will be overruled. And I'll remind counsel, although this is a court trial, I do generally try to discourage speaking objections. I realize you may be a little more liberal with some of the rules of procedure here that would be true in any other jury trial, but you might bear that in mind. Very well. Do you have the question in mind?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. When you saw this video, and particularly the last tagline of the video that says, "Stand up for righteousness, vote yes on Proposition 8," how, if at all, were you affected by that?
Well, I do remember that campaign is like this, and this one included. I would be lying if I didn't say that my heart was racing and I was angry watching it. I mean, again, stand up for righteousness. Okay, so we're a class of citizen or a category of people that need to be stood up against for some reason. And not to mention, what I find most disturbing is the reference to the devil blurring lines. And don't deny Jesus like Peter did. And this oncoming freight train. Well, I mean, what happens to you when a freight train hits you? You're going to be either majorly harmed or killed by that, right? So to be categorized as a person that's part of a community that's part of an effort to do one thing, we want to do one thing. Look, we don't want to perpetrate against anyone. We don't want to force anyone to do anything. I love Jeff Zario. I want to get married to Jeff. I want to start a family. I'm not going to go out and start some movement that's going to harm any institution or person or any child. I'm not. And this is offensive to people of faith. And I have a lot of friends who are people of faith. I mean, to categorize them as people of the devil, or even put them in the same category, I mean, of some effort that's likened to the devil blurring lines between right and wrong. I would think that those lines between right and wrong are talking about things that are bad in nature, that harm people and society. We're not trying to do that. I just want to get married. I mean, it's as simple as that. I love someone, and I want to get married. And so an ad like this goes, again, it just demeans you. It just makes you feel like people are putting efforts into discriminating against you. And although they have the right to believe what they want to believe, it doesn't make that legitimate or reasonable to me in my life when it infringes upon my rights, and when it changes the way I identify myself or the way I feel about myself. That's unacceptable.
Your Honor, I would next offer Plaintiff's Exhibit 350, a video entitled Gathering Storm. This is a video that was released in 2009, and again, I offer it subject to the objection.
Your Honor, we have a further objection, which is that this particular video was not produced until after the Prop 8 campaign and the vote, and that it would be irrelevant to these proceedings.
Now, the relevance...
What is the relevance, Mr. Boyce?
The relevance, Your Honor, and when I offered it, I made it clear that it was a 2009 video. The significance of it is that even after the campaign for Proposition 8 was over with, there continued to be this campaign against gay people, this campaign portraying gay people as a threat. Now, this is a part of a pattern of discrimination that we've referred to, and I think it's relevant to Mr. Katami's state of mind and the state of mind of other people, that they are subject to these kinds of attacks. Now, in some cases, this may be more relevant than the campaign videos. In the campaign videos, they have the excuse that they were preparing things because they were in the middle of a political campaign. That is something that is prepared, is distributed. This is something that's prepared and distributed after the campaign is over with, and it can have no function, as I think the court will see when it sees the video, other than to try to demonize gay people or to try to infer that somehow gay people have some kind of agenda that's a threat to society.
Can you link this to the parties here?
Your Honor, could I have a moment on that?
You may.
Your Honor, I think it actually shows on the video that it was produced by the National Organization for Marriage, and I think the formal name is which one of the largest supporters, which is one of the largest supporters of Proposition 8. The defendants, try to draw a distinction between what they call the official campaign and the unofficial campaign. In fact, it's all one campaign. And the attempt to sort of step back for the purpose of litigation and pretend that there was really only one official campaign and they didn't know anything about or have any knowledge of what was going on and with something else, I think is not credible, particularly when you are talking about an organization like the National Organization for Marriage that was one of their primary funders. So I believe this is sufficiently related to the campaign broadly defined. I also think that regardless of whether it is linked to the campaign, even if it were simply something that had just come up from somebody who had no connection with the campaign, it is it's relevant to the kinds of issues that the court is going to consider in terms of the appropriate standard. Whether it's strict scrutiny on rational basis or somewhere in between as to whether this is a class of people that is subject to continuing discrimination.
Your Honor, number one, this was not produced by ProtectMarriage.com, and ProtectMarriage.com is not the National Organization for Marriage. Number two, it was months after the Proposition 8 campaign. Number three, the ad itself doesn't even reference Prop 8 or California. For all those reasons, including the fact that Mr. Katami has been identified to testify solely about sexual orientation and the harms he suffered as a result of Prop 8, any harm that could have flowed from this particular video is not a result of Prop 8.
I'm inclined to think that the connections to the parties here are the suit and the issues is sufficiently tenuous that there would not be a basis for admitting Exhibit 350. You're proposing to admit it, Mr. Boyce, for purposes of showing an atmosphere of public attitude of homophobia. And I think there are other ways of establishing that. And this particular exhibit, given the lack of the connection to the parties at this lawsuit, I do not believe is appropriate for admission. Therefore, the objection will be sustained.
Your Honor, let me then offer plaintiff's exhibit number 1, which is the voter information guide for Proposition 8. And this also is one that I have now checked was identified on a timely basis.
While you're moving to identify exhibits, did you move in 99 and 401?
Yes, Your Honor, we did.
It's not clear whether those were simply marked or moved for admission.
I had offered those for evidence.
Okay, let's see. 401 will be admitted subject to the qualification that I outlined, namely that the witness must be available at least 48 hours in the event that the proponents wish to examine him with reference to 401. So 99 and 401 will be admitted. Now, you're moving to Exhibit 1 that will be placed before this witness.
Yes, may I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
All right. Mr. Katami, did you recognize this exhibit?
I do.
And what was it?
It is the California Voter Information Guide for 2008.
Did you review this in 2008?
Yes. Jeff and I have a habit of reviewing these before elections.
Your Honor, I would offer Exhibit 1.
Very well. Exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Let me ask you to turn to page that is numbered in the bottom right-hand corner, 3365. And if we could put that up on the screen. And in particular, I'd like to direct your attention in the argument in favor of Proposition 8. Do you see that?
I do.
And on top of the page, its last 2 columns, and in the right-hand column, the next to last paragraph. Do you see that?
Did you say the next to the last paragraph?
Yeah, the next to last paragraph.
Yes.
It says, voting yes on Proposition 8 restores the definition of marriage that was approved by over 61% of the voters. Voting yes overturns the decision of 4 activist judges. Voting yes protects our children. Did you see that?
Yes, I do.
And what was the reaction you had to that argument?
Well, I mean, once again, it always seems to be the punchline of the message, regardless of what. Jeff and I are informed voters, right? We do the reading, we discuss it, and when there are facts of merit, we're open to hearing them. We discuss them. But this punchline, again, of protecting children, and it's absolutely clear that because you see this recurring theme of protecting children, and I go back to, what are you protecting the children from? I mean, do you protect them from harms that we put upon them? I mean, we're not a harm. So then that leads me to believe, how does this generate? How does someone even think of putting protect your children in there? I mean, that language is indicative of some kind of perpetration against a child, which leads me to believe that there is definitely it's discriminatory. It absolutely puts me into a category that I do not belong in. It separates me from the norm. It makes me into someone, a part of a community that is perpetrating some sort of threat. And that's not who we are or what we're here about. So I disagree with it wholeheartedly. I think it's unfair, and I don't think it represents the situation.
Now, Mr. Zarillo testified that the 2 of you had decided not to register as domestic partners. I'd like you to tell the court your reasoning for not choosing to register with the state of California as domestic partners.
Well, we hear a lot of, what's the big deal? You get most of the same rights, virtually all of the same rights. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is, and we've discussed this, the big deal is it's creating a separate category for us. And that's a major deal because it makes you into a second, third, and as Mr. Olson said today, a 4th-class citizen now that we're actually recognizing marriages from other states. And everyone says, oh, but it's a huge stride, you get rights. But we still have discrimination. So it's like, for lack of a better image, it's like putting a Twinkie at the end of the treadmill and then saying, you know, here's a bite, or here's another bite. I mean, well, you want that Twinkie, you want the whole thing. I know it's rudimentary example of what it is, but I don't know, that's how it is. It's not the same. I mean, oh, but you have the same rights. Yeah, but what am I supposed to do? Go have a domestic partnership ceremony and then every